Yo, welcome back to the BST4 channel. Wingnuts, what's going on? What's happening, man? Listen, thank you guys for checking out the channel. I really do appreciate it. Now, let's get right into the video, man. This is my T45 transmission that I picked up from my favorite junkyard for around $125. I have gotten the flywheel, the bolts, just everything, clutch bolts, pressure plate and everything. But when I took the transmission out, the whole transmission was wet. I didn't care anyway because I really needed the flywheel and the pressure plate, because once I got those two items and along with some other goodies, man, this thing was starting to move. So what I did was I started to spray this thing down now and just clean it up, because I know I have to open this thing up and it was just a mess. I mean, every time you touch this thing, it just had a lot of crud on it. It had a lot of shavings from me doing other things inside the garage. So let's go ahead and open this thing up. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't know much about transmissions at all. I mean, inside it looks kind of simple as we look at it from the outside. I mean, there's probably a lot of little things that gotta be pulled out and everything like that. I'm not going to go into detail because that means I have to take everything else off of this situation here, and I'm not equipped and my mind is not really there. The thing that I really wanted to take off was this, and I couldn't because, man, dude, I was sitting there trying to shake this thing. I wasn't trying to be violent. I was just trying to shake it just a little bit, and it just didn't come out, man. And then on top of it, I couldn't even put on the daggone clutch disc. I mean, look at this thing. It just only goes and it stops right there. And I'm like, what? Now, as I'm starting to sit here, right, this situation here, I can actually repair that. So that's probably what I'm going to do in a few seconds. And there's a shim under this situation here, and kind of gives it, you know, some decent play. I feel that it's too much play. I took it to the trans shop. The guy said, no, that's normal, that play. But to me, it's just a little bit too much play for me. Because when you go into this one here on this car, see if we can go up underneath here. You probably can't see it, but you see this one here? It doesn't have that much play. And I like it that way, you know what I mean? So that's what I want for the other one. So what I'm going to be doing today, or in a few minutes, I'm going to clean this thing up to my best ability with this Dremel, man. And this Dremel was a headache. It wasn't doing nothing. So you know what I did? I went and got the big joint, which was crazy. And you have to really be careful with this. You can go ahead and slice this thing up. So for you guys who are probably thinking, why didn't I leave the trans over there? Well, it was $100 just to open up the trans to look at it. And then he started to scare me a little bit with parts that may be on back order. So I was like, okay, I know where this is going. You can't look for the parts, and the transmission will sit here for a couple of months. He said that happened to a customer. It sat for a couple of months because he doesn't have the ability to look on the internet to go look for parts. You know how this goes, man. He's old school, but he's new school, but he's old school, man. So this whole build is bonkers. The engine I'm doing is bonkers. The transmission part is bonkers. Everything just doesn't make any sense. But somehow, some way, I'm going to make this thing work. So, all right, this is what I'm doing. You see, I'm doing it like that, and then this is what it looks like that. So what I'm doing is just, you know, cleaning up the groove. I use a variable, tone it down a lot, and, you know, just go up there and really get it right. All right, this is the finished product. Now, you guys are asking, or probably asking, why did I do this and why I didn't just change it? Well, when I went to the transmission shop and I showed the guy what's going on, he's like, this is no big deal. And mind you, he's been in business for 70, like not 70 years, it's been his family business for 70 years, but he had it for like 40. When he said that, I was just like, okay, it's not a big deal. And he said the play in it, the play that was in it, I'm gonna put everything back together in a few minutes and let you see the play in it. And then he was like, that's not a big deal. And I was like, huh, all right. So everything in here looks pretty much good, I guess, in here. I'm gonna show you guys some photos and you can kind of see what's going on back there. It's not much of anything, man. It seems like it's good, to be honest with you. Even the forks, they're not broken. Synchros look pretty decent. You know, I don't know about the shims or in them or anything like that, but it looks pretty decent on my end over here. So I really don't know what to say. So that's why I was saying, hey, maybe Glenn and my man Ford Blue was right, man. The guy did not have a pilot bearing on this. Start shaking this loose. This seal that's in here, right, started slinging. Oil started going in. Start saturating the pressure plate, and it just started slinging oil all through there. And the car is driving, and that's how everything got soaked from the bell housing and trans back. And also this clutch here now actually you know, fits. And it's in there tight, it moves. Look at that. It looks legit, man. Really looks legit, man. Hook that thing up. And like I said, man, sometimes when you're in a bind or you ain't got no money, that is like the motivation for me to really go out and really do something. And that's why I say you guys are so important, man. And you know who else is important? My man Chuck, man, for giving me this right here, man. This fractional digital caliper, man. Thank you so much, Chuck, for this, man. It's an honor to be a friend of yours, man. I really do appreciate everything that you're doing for me and for everybody else in the Panther community, man. All right, so we got the bell housing on, and this thing looks pretty daggone good, man. It looks a lot better than what it was, but I'd rather have this on there. But, you know, I had a tough time trying to get this thing out, you know what I mean, because of this gear here. The other one, when the gear meshes with this, it doesn't come from behind here properly. It's in there pretty daggone tight. Everybody else that I've seen, man, that thing just dropped out. And I'm like trying to figure out how the heck that happened. All right, this is what it is. What do you guys think about that? That's the play. Is that good or no? Let me know in the comment section, because have I put in transes like this? Yes, I have. The guy from the trans shop said that is okay. So just leave me a comment in the comment section on that. All right, man, let's switch speeds to the fuel pump situation right here, man. Let me keep you guys up to speed with this. Now, this car has a fuel pump problem. It just starts sometimes. It does start, this, that, and the third, but if you crank it like that and build up some pressure, it'll start. Now, what I found out is well, I went and I bought this item here. So if you want to go buy this, you can buy this for your Crown Vic or just get a whole assembly or whatever you want to call it. This thing right here, this thing cracked. It has two of them on our fuel pump assemblies, and this thing is brittle because I took the fuel pump off one time, and more likely I ruptured this, and then slowly pressure build up, and then it just loses pressure. Now I went and I bought this unit, AC Delco joint. I was ready to go, and I said, you know what, let me test this pump here. All right, so I went and let me see which one is plus. This is plus, minus, and the pump works. Right? Shouldn't be doing that with no fluid in there, but I just wanted to show you guys that it does work. So with that said, now more likely it's this. I'm going to go get some submergible fuel lines. That stuff is expensive. If you guys know anything about it, that's the proper stuff that you need to have in your fuel tank. Unlike what I put inside that Maverick, that's why it kept slipping off on the Maverick. It gets soft and then it pulls out, plus the pressure and all of that other stuff along with it, man. That is what's going on. So now you guys are wondering and say, hey man, you might as well put a high pressure fuel pump inside your car. You got a turbo situation. Well, the ECU dictates the fuel pressure and it regulates how much voltage the fuel pump here. So if it's like, let's say 60 or 40 PSI, they'll tweak this by the ECU, sending a certain amount of voltage to keep it there. That's why most cars have to use the booster pump. You can use your stock situation and crank up the voltage and you'll get enough fuel pressure to run your turbo situation. You don't really need a high pressure fuel pump like this here. You can just use your regular joint and it will be as good. But some people really bypass it and really use it anyway. So it's no big deal. You can. I want to talk about a certain subject, man, that a guy was talking about, and he said about my projects, like my car here and the other car there and the other car over there. I was explaining to him, not making any excuses, because he was right. He said, man, I've been watching your channel off and on, man, and I really like what you're doing, but you have a lack of focus. And what happens is you have, you know, that I go and I do something else and I do something else. And he is correct. And all I really wanted to say to him about that, and I put this inside of the comment, is that a lack of money is part of why that happens. And you guys just hear me out. Now, if I have an idea with a car, right, and something happens, like say a fuel pump, downtime, waiting for a part, right? As I'm sitting here waiting for a week, 2 weeks, and I'm doing some other things, I think about how to do it better or a cheaper way to do the build. And either I buy an engine, or I'm looking for a transmission, or I'm doing something else, and that makes me lose my focus. While I'm over here thinking how to be thrifty and budget minded, it turns me into another direction and I start to do something else. Just like this here. This was supposed to be a 5.4 swap, only 5-speed. Then look at the internet, somebody already got one. So I said, forget that. I'll do something different. Let's turbo it. All right, then I said, nah, I'm not going to turbo it. Let me just put the 5-speed in it first. And when I put the 5-speed in it, then all of a sudden I said, let me go ahead and turbo the car. And then it's snowball effect from there. Waiting for parts really opens my mind up to think about other stuff that I want to do, and that helps me get unfocused, and it happens. I want to thank that guy, and I want to thank you guys for just watching the video, man, and appreciate all the comments and everything, and the support and the donations and just everything that you guys do. But mainly, man, the comment section is where it's at, man, and I really do appreciate you guys. So what we're going to do is wait for parts, and then we're going to install them. We're going to get the transmission stuff, we're going to get all of that stuff, we're going to get the fuel pump stuff, and we're going to just put all of that stuff together in the next video, man. So just thank you guys so much for just clicking and liking the video, man, and just rocking with me, man. Thank you so much. So I'll see you guys on the next one, man. All right, later.